Bestie fam, welcome to the Activity Continues podcast. If you're new here, we are friends and soul sisters who recap episodes of the TV show The Dead Files and talk about other creepy shit as well as any other random thing that may pop into our heads. TV show recommendations, stuff that's going on in our lives, whether you care or not, tasty trivia tidbits. Never know. We never know. I'm Amy.
Thanks for joining us again. I'm Megan. This week, we are talking about the Dead Files episode called Shadows of Death. It is the newest episode, season 15, episode 6, and it originally aired July 6th of 2023. Also, please say hello to Amy P, aka AP, our newest team member. She's helping to keep us in check with facts and trivia and little fun pieces of information. Hi, Amy.
Hey. Thanks for the warm welcome. If you have not watched the show, stop right there and don't go any further unless you like spoilers. Go back and pick an older episode of one of ours today and come back to this one when you've watched the episode. Also, we need to discuss the elephant in the room.
Yes, we do. This has been quite a week in the Dead Files world.
Oh,
Yeah.
Lord. It's your drinks, everybody, because...
Yeah. Oh, shit, all I got is water.
I don't even have a drink.
Yeah, so this episode that aired this past week, a few days ago, was the first one with new medium, Cindy Kaza. Apparently, I've been saying it wrong. I've been calling her Kaza. Cindy Kaza, at least that's how Steve pronounced it.
Mm-hmm.
And I thought she did a great job.
I loved her.
And
Absolutely.
I really did.
Yeah, and we can talk more about that later too. But that little thing in the beginning with Steve in the car. Okay.
What was that?
First of all,
Well, BS is what it was.
it's a bunch of BS.
It was a bunch of BS. It was like, oh shit, we need to do something and we haven't done anything.
Yeah.
They call Steve and like record something right now wherever you're at. And he's like, shit, I'm in my car.
Oh, it was totally planned that way because it was
planned.
just some interesting news.
Yeah.
And like sorry, Amy, they did the voiceover of the black screen. Like, what's happening? I just got some interesting news.
Yeah.
Like,
It's not, that did not happen day of. That is not like, because then it makes Amy look like she's a flake and then just and was just like, nope, I'm done.
Yeah.
And I'm guessing it was a little bit more than that.
Yeah. I don't think she like called in sick, fuck this job
the
day that she was supposed to do the walk.
Right.
No.
Especially after talking to Tracy.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
It sounds like Tracy said that she felt like Amy knew when she was doing her walk with Tracy that it was her last walk.
And if Amy knew, then I'm guessing the other people knew.
Or at least they suspected it.
That was so shady of them to just throw it all on Amy. And with their kind words, blah, 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 bullshit is all I heard.
Yeah. Yeah.
From Steve.
Yeah. I think that I still think it was handled really poorly. And I don't know exactly what went down. But after I've been messaging with Tracy quite a bit since we did our interview. And
how's she doing, by the way?
She's doing well. She's
Good.
doing well.
Good.
She said that she was asking some of the crew people about Amy and stuff. And all they would say about her is she really cares deeply about the clients.
Mm-hmm.
That was like their
line
thing that they said. And that was all they would say. They wouldn't say she's nice. She's fun to work with. She's a bitch. They wouldn't say anything except she really cares about the clients.
Wow.
And she thought that was weird. And I think that's weird too.
That's what PR has said. This is what you're allowed to say when people ask.
Yeah, exactly. And she said that when she learned that Amy was going to be in the room with them, that she made some comment like, oh, I thought Amy might be in a different room like she has been, in the last episodes. Or last season anyway. And they said something like, oh, we're not putting up with that nonsense anymore.
I remember you saying that.
So I think that Amy probably put her foot down and said, I don't want to fucking get COVID again.
Yeah.
You're spraying the house. You're only letting 2 people in on the reveal. And I don't want to be sitting at the table with probably Novak Steve. Oh, because we know now that he's super conservative.
Super conservative.
I was well aware of that for a while.
Yeah.
I too.
I knew too.
Just as sad.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I think that probably Amy was like, if you're not going to respect my wishes, I'm outie.
Right.
Well, did you
And
see her Instagram post from a few days ago?
no, not a couple days ago.
So she has one, and it's a meme and a couple of memes that just say like, "I love you, couch. You understand me," and it's a cat laying on the couch. But her
Oh, with
message
his
in it
face down.
says,
Yeah.
"Yeah, it's been a rather weird, emotional, and draining time. The energy spent in comprehending the strange energy in the world, the complete devastating and the world complete devastating on each level, the upheaval to my personal life, development, and change. For those reaching out, supporting the store, etc., please know that you're in my thoughts. That I appreciate you. And I'm doing my best. I got extremely overwhelmed every 5 minutes. Try to reset and do what I have to." There's a lot of like
Mhm.
run on words here.
Yeah. Yeah.
Probably
Her
maybe tough
typing
to
isn't
text. Yeah.
delightful.
Some days I tend to shut down, be immobilized. Obviously, that's where issues arise. We are getting everything out today. I'll talk to those who have reached out if I can muster up the strength. So I'm guessing some of that has to do with the show stuff, but then also with her shop
Her
and moving
divorce.
and
And I'm
everything
pretty
in the
sure,
personal life that's going
yeah,
on.
pretty
So,
sure she's single now too. Because she
yeah.
said something about
Mhm.
having to do this life with somebody without somebody I thought I would be
Right.
doing it with.
Yeah.
So I think she's
Yeah. She's had a lot of personal stuff, I think, happen in the last year. And I
Yep.
think it's all happening at once. And
Which is understandable for
Right.
anybody
Right.
when you're also under a lot of stress in your
and then on
day-to-day.
top of that, she had a horrible leg break
Mhm,
that she required like surgery on.
mhm.
I mean, she's had a rough 12 months.
And she had COVID at least
Yeah.
once, and it
Mhm.
had it really
And it
bad.
knocked her
Yep.
down on her
Yeah.
ass. Yeah.
Yeah, because she's already immunocompromised,
Yeah.
Yep.
So, God, I wish her the best. I
Yeah.
just
I really do. I
even
hope
if she said, "Fuck this, take this job and shove it," and
Yeah.
stormed out of there, I'd still support her because
Right.
I've
Yep.
been in that position before, and I can't tell you how good it feels to say, "Fuck it all," and walk out. It
Yeah.
feels
Mhm.
real good to do that.
Especially to be around people who don't support her in this. I mean,
Exactly.
we don't know if that's the case. This is
No.
all speculation.
Yes.
But if that
But if
is the
somebody
case,
has a
Amy, you
fear
support
of a disease, COVID,
Mhm,
it affects everybody differently. I've never gotten it. My
mhm.
husband's gotten it twice, and it's just been like a decently bad cold. And then it killed, the man who married us. It affects everybody differently. So everybody
Mhm.
has a right to be afraid of it or to feel
Yeah.
about it how they want to feel about it.
Mhm.
Yep.
Yep.
And you shouldn't just because you don't agree with somebody, and I'm on a soapbox here, but you shouldn't discount what their belief is because you don't believe it. Or,
Yep.
it's not the same.
Yep.
Unless we're talking about human rights, in which case that's another thing.
Yeah, that's
totally,
not a
but
belief, that's a thing.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
a reality.
Yeah.
I just think if that's how it went down, it's really shitty, especially
Yeah.
because without her, they wouldn't have 15
Exactly.
years.
She gave them 14, 15
Yeah.
years of
14
her
and a half
life.
years. And they wouldn't have it without her because
That's right.
Lord knows Steve can't do it. And that's
Yeah.
nothing against Steve, but he's not a
Right.
medium.
Right. Right. And there are other mediums out there,
Right.
but there's nobody that's like Amy that I've seen
Mhm.
anyway,
Right.
that has all of those kinds of abilities.
Yeah.
I did notice that Cindy, in one of the earlier scenes, put her hand on a doorknob before
Mhm.
she walked in and kind of looked like she was, meditating on it or opening up or something.
Mhm.
And so I think she might have some of that. What do we
Touch.
call that? Psychometry? Is that what it's called?
Clairvoyancy? I
No,
don't know.
clairvoyance is clear seeing. I think it's when you touch an object and you can feel. I think it's psychometry, and Amy has that too.
Yeah. I saw Cindy do that when she was talking about the little girl's room.
Mhm.
She grabbed the bunk bed.
Oh yeah,
Mhm.
Yeah. yeah. So, and then I also heard. Well, I noted in our Facebook group when I was doing sort of like a live chat thing
Mhm.
in there, and I said, "Oh, Steve's not wearing his wedding ring. This is the first
Yeah.
time I've noticed it." And Annie from 2 episodes before said that's because he's not married anymore.
I saw that. Yeah, I saw that.
And then when I talked to Tracy, I said, "What do you know about that?" And she said, "Oh, well, he was talking about his wife, like they were
Yeah.
still married, but maybe he just didn't want to get into it," she said.
Yeah.
Also, I was curious because I know, Tracy mentioned she thought that her walk was Amy's last, but was her walk like we don't know the chronological order of when they actually do the walks,
Right.
and I know that often shifts things in different things because I would assume, making an ass out of myself probably by assuming, but they had a couple of Florida ones that were close together, like
Mhm.
then
Yeah.
maybe those would have been done closer, more in proximity to each other rather than
Mhm.
Florida, South Carolina, Florida, somewhere else,
Alabama.
Florida. Yep.
Yeah.
But that's just knowing that it's not always chronological order, but we do know that that was the last episode. But then to the point of people in the Facebook group too being, well, Steve said she's taking a break.
Mm-hmm.
But
I
as
know, and
far as
everybody's like, she's coming back. I'm like, she's not coming back.
She's not
There's
coming
no
back.
fucking way she's coming back.
I
Right.
think there would have to be a few people gone in order for that to happen.
Yeah. It would be a
And one
totally
of-
different show.
Yeah. Agreed.
Yeah. So, I know. Well,
Interesting.
anything that Steve said in that intro is written by the producers or,
Mhm.
writers or whatever, and is to the benefit of the show. Not that it has, it's 100% truth.
Yeah. And so that explains why they didn't put anything at the end of the last episode.
Mm-hmm.
But they did do the sneaky part of introducing, putting Amy Allen or Cindy Kay's
Mm-hmm.
medium.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And also with that thing with Steve, it said before he starts talking, it says the day of the walk. Like we
Yes.
said, makes
Yep.
it sound like she walked out of there the day she was supposed to be doing a walk, which
Yep.
I don't think is true. It could be,
No.
but I don't think so. Didn't sound like it to me. And then also it says after he's done talking, it says 5 weeks later, which
Yeah.
makes it sound like he was on his way to the client and then got the call and then was like, oh, I guess I'll go sit on my couch for 5
Gotta
weeks.
go retreat.
Yeah.
And the thing too
That's
is
true.
with them giving, Amy Allen medium and then Cindy Kayza medium, that means that they knew about it ahead of time as well, and we're trying to
Right.
figure
Well,
out a
they
way
knew by the
to-
time they were editing the
Yeah,
episodes,
with the
for
editing.
sure.
I just think it's all shady.
It is. It's. I don't know if we'll ever know the answer or the
Yeah.
real story, unless
Well,
Amy Allen
unless
wants
Amy
to come on the
comes
show and
out.
talk to us.
We're here.
We would
We love
fall
you.
over and die.
I'm gonna guess
Oh
that
my
there's
God.
probably some NDAs.
There could
Oh,
be.
yeah.
There could
But
be.
those expire after a certain amount of time.
They
I think.
do. They do.
Look at what's going on with a certain Bagel Bites person.
Yeah. Bilbo Baggy Jeans.
Yeah.
True.
Yeah, that kind of fizzled though.
It
Like,
did. Yeah,
Nick
there's a lot of
Offerman said what he
ramp up.
wanted to say, and then it was like, oh, we all kind of knew that, and
Is Steve not on Instagram anymore?
I've
not.
tried looking for him and he's not.
he's not. Annie
Really?
said, though, client Annie said that his Facebook said he was single, but I could not find his Facebook.
I'm gonna
I
look
couldn't
now.
find. I found some that looked like people pretending to be Steve, but I couldn't
Right.
find anything that actually looked like it was Steve. So I don't know. It sounds like they're both single, but I'm guessing they are not going to be mingling.
No.
I think we covered this in our last one, but when I was talking to Tracy about it later, it's in the part 2 of the conversation with Tracy. So by the time people hear this, they will have heard that the chemistry, she called it, between Amy and Steve was not great.
Yeah. I
Yeah.
remember you mentioned that. She said it was very tense.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah.
So drama,
Mhm.
whatever. Hopefully it will calm down a little bit, especially for Amy, so she doesn't have to deal with it. Because it sounds like
Yeah.
she's got enough shit on her plate right now.
Yeah.
So anyway, this episode, I feel like they had the same complaints that so many people do.
Mhm.
The pushing, the scratching, the shadow figures out of the side of your corner of your eye,
Mhm.
and just I feel like it didn't seem like it was all that serious.
No,
I
it
don't
really
know.
didn't. And I was
Maybe they
really
played it
shocked.
down and the client is going to be like, oh my God, it was horrible. And
Right.
they didn't make it sound like that.
Yeah. And maybe we think that because the woman who called was so like soft spoken and
Yeah.
she wasn't like, oh my God, this is terrible.
She wasn't a drama
Why'd you
queen. Yeah.
I got this broom.
Why
I
is it
was
always the dream house? Every episode,
Right.
or
I
there's
thought that
so
too.
many of them.
Mhm.
You
That's
go
something
back
the
to them, it's
producers
like,
say.
but it's our dream house. It's supposed to be our dream house. And
And I don't want to
especially,
leave.
I think it's really emphasized more so when they're like, we can't leave.
Right.
We don't
It's our
want to
dream
leave.
house.
We're
I'm
not
gonna
going
fight.
to leave.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
And and it's usually the female client that is in love with the house. This time, though, it seems like it was the husband that
It
did
was the
not want
husband
to go
because it was
anywhere.
his family house.
Yeah,
But
it was. Yeah,
Was it the family house or was just the land gifted to them by the dad?
it was
I
the
was
land.
struggling trying to understand.
She said it was the land.
it was the
Yeah.
land, but they built the house because it was the house of their dreams on the family property.
Yeah.
Okay, that's where I was getting confused. I was like, okay, it's gifted to them by the dad, but
Mhm.
okay. And we obviously find out a little bit about some of the other owners, but what about
The
did
dad?
his family have any issues?
Right.
What about in
Right.
between from when his dad got the property and whoever had it before and then before that, or all the history back and forth?
Yeah. It sounded to me like they were gifted the land and then they
Mhm.
built the house. So that
Mhm.
probably nobody else in the family lived there before, but his
But
father
they would have lived on the
owned it.
land, don't you think?
Not
That's yeah.
necessarily.
I
Or
mean,
would they have
we have our hunting land and we don't live on it, but
Well,
we
that's true,
we
yeah.
have a shack that we've built up there, a nice little like rustic cabin, I would say.
Yeah.
But it's not land
Yeah.
that would ever be really great for building houses or anything on.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't know. I did note made a note that when Steve was talking to Cynthia about Adam
Mhm.
and then looked at the picture and he said, "How old is Adam?" And she said 30 years old. And he's like, "And he still lives here?"
Yeah.
I
Come
was
on,
like, Steve,
Steve.
rude.
Thank
You don't
you.
know. And
'Cause
then she's like, actually, he was in a car accident and he
Yeah.
suffered a
And now he's
traumatic
got a
brain injury.
traumatic brain
And
injury.
he had to learn how to do everything all over again. Steve, don't make judgments on people.
I know.
What did he make?
actually
He
wrote
made a
down-
judgment the last episode too that I was like, the fuck are you doing, Steve?
No.
I actually wrote down that it seems like somebody's being pretty judgy.
Yeah.
And honestly, that's more common than people I think realize for
Especially
older.
now.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
nobody my age lived with their parents
No.
after 18.
But
we
like
went to
my
college or we
generation,
got married and we bought our
Yep.
own homes because we could. Things are different now.
Mhm.
People don't make as much money relatively, you know what I
Right.
mean? And everything is more expensive. You
Right.
can't buy a house unless you make like $100,000 a year.
Mhm.
And not very many people that are under the age of 50 do.
Mhm.
So it's
I saw a
you know,
TikTok where this guy is like, well, our parents are always like, well, I bought a house when I was your age and blah, blah, blah. And he's like, well, let's break it down.
mhm.
A house in 1980s was like $60,000
Yeah.
and somebody, the average income was $30,000. So, you put 3% down, that's, I forget how much, math is not my forte, but he's like, essentially you could pay off your house because it was, only twice your income. Now we have people who want to buy $500,000 houses. The average income in Florida, in Orlando, he said, is $55,000.
Mhm.
So how are you supposed to do that?
You can't.
Yeah.
Like,
It's-
yeah,
and-
people were able to buy things, but the price difference was so different back then.
Yeah.
Yep.
Well, and also like Amy, you've got all those dogs. There's no way
Mhm.
that you could find a house
Right.
that you would like that would allow you to have all those dogs. It's not like you
Yep.
can move into an apartment or
Well,
whatever.
and-
I mean,
and
you could,
I
but not
mean-
with your dogs.
Really with I was a teacher for years and surprisingly teachers don't make a lot of money. So it was really paycheck to paycheck for
Yeah.
quite a while.
Right.
And then I had the year where everyone got married. All of my savings got wiped out because
Right.
I was in everybody's wedding because
Right.
my best friends, my sister, my cousin, and all of those kinds of things. And then you start building it back up, and then I tore my ACL and had to have surgery. So yes, I have insurance, but I still had to pay about $3,500 out of pocket
Yikes.
for all of like X-rays and everything, because that surgery itself is about a $20,000 surgery.
Mhm.
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 And and then you think about all the therapy and all the other stuff that goes into that. And
Yeah.
then with my dogs, like
Yep.
I always feel that I
Life's
have to, and if
expensive.
people haven't picked up on it, yes, I live at home. I live with my parents. I wouldn't be able to do some of the things that I've done. And, granted, yes, we went on to a trip to Scotland last year for 2 weeks. I wouldn't have been able to do that if I was living on my own.
Right.
I wouldn't be able to do a lot of those things. I am paying off all of my bills and I still have some student loans,
Mhm.
and I talk to people and they're like, oh, like, who cares anymore? But there's
Mhm.
still that feeling to me.
Yeah.
And there's
Right.
probably going to be people who are going to listen to this and judge and whatever. But yes, I have several dogs. And once you have a pack, it's really hard to pull them apart and having, like Briggs would have been fine by himself, but then I've got a couple others that would have been really, really would have had a hard time. But then we have a pool. So for them to be able to exercise and everything, like nobody thought Briggs was as old as he was when they would see him. But it is really difficult in this area to find anything that is on a single income.
Yeah.
And truthfully, I love where I work and stuff. And I know I'm kind of going into a little tangent, but
that's all we do.
I was, for almost 6 years, I worked at the same company, and I was still considered an entry-level position, even though I was doing work beyond that. But my pay I didn't reach over $5,000 more from when I started to in over 5 years.
Yeah.
And then by taking the role that I have now, I had a significant increase, over $10,000 increase from what I was making last year to this year, just because of changing jobs.
Yeah. And that's why people change jobs a lot,
That's
too.
why people change jobs every 2 to 3 years. Managers are like, well, I don't want to hire them. They job hop. And it's like, well, that's how you get raises.
Yeah. You can't get a raise otherwise.
Anyways, I didn't mean to tangential this
That's
off,
okay.
but-
Okay.
Where were we?
Well, we were at Steve being kind of
judgy. Steve was being judgy. Because he was also judgy about them not sleeping in the same room. And I'm like,
that's what he was judgy about.
There's a ton of people nowadays that are like, as families are kids leave the house or whatever, or even if people who don't have kids, they're finding your relationship is actually sometimes better off when you're not sleeping in the same room because you're both getting restful nights of sleep.
Yeah.
That doesn't mean every night is that way, but my grandparents, my dad's side, were like that. For the longest time I knew, my grandma had the queen bed. My grandpa had a room with a twin bed.
Yep. Yeah, we always did sleep in the same room. It's just that Greg snores so loud that he now sleeps all the way upstairs in the guest quarters or whatever. And I can still hear him. Yeah. It's just that it's quiet enough that I can sleep. So that's another level down of the
John's
building,
the
and
same
I can
way.
still hear him.
And I snore too. And it's like, you're like, oh, we sleep in separate beds. And what? And it's like,
I know. It's like, no, at least we get to sleep.
Yeah.
Because I like to have a fan on. I like to have a podcast playing or music playing, and that would keep him up. So
I cannot go to bed without a podcast on now. I've trained myself, unfortunately, to where I need a podcast or I'm like, this is too quiet.
Yeah.
I can't focus.
Yeah.
So
the ringing in my ears is too loud.
Stop being judgy. Stop being judgy, Steve.
Note to Steve.
His whole face goes, what?
I know.
His eye is like,
I know.
Like he's 30. And then she's like, actually, Steve, he had a TBI.
Yeah.
And had to relearn how to do everything.
Yeah.
So maybe shut the fuck up, Steve.
Well, he also did that too. And he was like, Cynthia, you didn't say that you had little girls living here. Yeah. Or young girls. You didn't say you had young girls living here. And she's like, well, those are my granddaughters.
Yeah. And they don't.
And then they just walk past the room.
Yeah. Do we think those are Adam's kids?
We don't. That's what I was curious. I wrote that down too.
They would have to be because
unless they have another kid.
Another kid.
She did it because all it was asked is who lives in the house.
Right.
Not,
she could have other children
which I've noticed that's been a difference throughout this season too, is more so who lives in the house. And a lot of times it'll be like, well, this is my son, this is my daughter, and this is my daughter that moved out.
Yes. Yeah. That one with the lady that was obsessed with the hotel she lived in. We called the episode Dramatics at the Inn.
Yeah, she was.
There was like 5 people in that picture and only 3 people lived there. I mean, aside from the hotel.
Maybe they did that. They're doing it now intentionally, so it's not confusing.
Yeah. Maybe.
Where if you have like 5 kids, but only 3 live there.
Yeah.
But
and maybe it's they don't want to be a part of it. They didn't have experiences. There are other things.
They're busy. They had a trip or whatever planned, or who knows? There's a million reasons.
Yep.
Okay. Is there anything else we need to talk about that? Oh, well, we have to get to the end of the episode when.
Yeah.
Oh, God.
Well, I was curious. She talks about she ended up going to urgent care after she got pushed down the stairs, but then we never what actually
came of that.
Yeah, because she said, I was injured. I had to go to urgent care. And then Steve cuts in and is like, well, how hard did you get shoved?
And then she nearly threw him in the next room.
Good for her.
She pushed him so hard he went
I know.
flying.
I
I have a
know.
feeling that was recorded more than once, and it was like, no, you got to put a little bit more like oomph
Right.
in that.
Right. It's
Be a
like
little
the
more
drone
dramatic.
scenes.
Yeah. Yeah, it was
Yeah.
pretty funny. I laughed.
I did too. I was like, good for you.
I do
I
want to
liked
mention.
Cindy. I thought I
Yeah,
really,
I did
really
too.
liked her.
Yeah.
And I'm struggling because in the chat that we're in, people are like, well, I don't like her. She's not Amy. And it's like, of course she's not
But
Amy.
yeah,
She's a whole different person.
Yeah.
Don't compare Amy to her. It's apples to
Yeah.
oranges.
Yeah. Yeah.
She, I think, did a fantastic job.
I think she did too.
I
thought so
loved
as well.
her. I loved her. I thought this is a really, really good replacement for Amy.
Yeah.
Yep.
I thought so too. I thought so too.
She was.
And from what
go
I've
ahead.
heard of somebody in one of the Dead Files groups
Mhm.
knows Matt
Mhm.
personally. And she said that Cindy and Matt got along really well. Matt's planning to stick around as long as they'll have him. So
Mhm.
that's nice that the two of them get along.
I did have some stuff about Matt. Like we've talked about it, but he's been more engaged in like asking more of
Yes.
those like
Yes, he
in-depth
has.
questions.
Yes.
At least from what they're showing this
Yeah.
year. And maybe part of that is because of the transition with Amy. But there hasn't been the voiceover lately. And I think
Mhm.
somebody called it out in one of the chats. But Amy still had things taken off the walls and covered.
Yeah.
Cindy didn't.
I noticed, Amy had brought that up too.
Well,
like, usually they
yeah.
clear the rooms, and like with the granddaughter's room, they didn't. So she knew it
No,
was
they left
a little
everything.
girl's
No,
room.
and then she knew it was a boy. This is one thing. She always called Adam's room the boys' room.
Mm-hmm.
And I have some thoughts that go to that.
Mhm.
Okay.
So we can talk about that in a minute.
Before we get off this topic of clearing,
Mhm.
Matt doesn't do that anymore.
Mm.
Annie
Well, that's
said
right. Annie mentioned that in the.
Matt
Yeah.
doesn't do that anymore. The client has to do it now. So it's possible that the client in this case just didn't move as
Do
much
a
stuff
good
as
job.
they should have.
Well,
earlier.
it'll be interesting to see later on if there's more with Cindy that way, or if it's just like, I don't care if it's there necessarily.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Because I know that was an Amy preference, and it was
Yes.
always stated that was Amy's preference.
Yeah,
She didn't
'cause
want to
didn't want it
distract
to
it.
be
But I am
influenced.
or
curious if potentially something happened with covering of or moving of an artifact
Oh, yeah.
that potentially,
Like
caused
it got broken or damaged or
a
something. Yeah.
monetary amount of,
Oh,
Yeah.
that's where my mind goes to.
But
yeah,
you
it
would
could
think
be
if
they just didn't want the
doing that,
liability.
yeah, they would have some sort of like agree or release form that the clients would
Insurance,
sign.
yeah.
Yeah.
I understand you're moving
Yeah.
this, but
So
Yeah. But yeah, like Annie said that it was definitely an Amy thing because
Mhm.
Amy gets really distracted.
mhm.
She's probably ADHD like the rest of us. And, something's shiny and, can't
Yep.
focus.
Yep.
can't focus.
Or like you said, Megan, just being influenced by
Yep.
Mhm.
something. Like if she walks in and sees Eat, Pray, Love on the wall and she hates that,
Mhm.
she's not going to have great feelings about the client before even
Right.
meeting them.
Right.
So,
Right.
Okay.
yeah. All right. Anything else we want to talk about except until we get to the end? Very mind-boggling to me.
Yeah.
God.
So I have a couple of things that I wrote down that I thought were interesting. And I think this plays into the end, so we can probably tie it back then. But I feel
Okay.
like Pedro believes that something is happening, but he convinces himself that it's not. And he
Mhm.
even stated that. But
In
I
the
think it
reveal,
really
yep.
comes to fruition later on at the end.
Video?
Yes. Yep.
I have feelings about the
Yep.
follow-up video.
So do I.
Yeah, everybody does.
Traumatic brain injuries can cause people to have massive mood swings, not all the time, but traumatic
Mhm.
brain. And you could,
Sure.
again, sitting with my mom, who's a nurse, she's like, yep, you can see he had a head injury. You could see where there was a head injury.
And one
But
of his
they can-
eyes wasn't the same as the
Mhm.
other.
Yeah, there was on the right side of his face, there was a little bit of, I'm guessing that's where he had to have hit the
Right.
pavement.
Mhm.
But there was, traumatic brain injuries can cause, and I do know somebody who has gotten much more explosive anger
Mm.
because of a TBI.
Mm.
Again, doesn't happen all the time, but it is something. Is it something that could potentially make that person also more open? Because we do hear that later on.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And then I wrote down when they're doing the please help me dead files part,
Yeah.
definitely not in the same room.
Really?
No, if you go back and watch it, there's no
Oh.
way they're in the same room.
Really?
Cindy and Steve, you mean?
Yep, Cindy and Steve. If you go back and watch it, you can kind of look like they're both told. They must be both told where to look.
Yeah.
But at least from my perspective, it looks like it's cut differently. Whereas if you watch the one with Steve and Amy, they are
totally
sitting next to each other, and they
Yep.
show much more of them sitting next to each other. This feels more green screen and like somebody's photoshopped into the area.
I did not even notice
It could
that.
be wrong, but it feels like Cindy's in a slightly different plane than
Yeah.
Steve.
The shadows are off or something.
There's just something about the way that they're setting, and even just the way that they like look at each other. It doesn't feel natural.
Really?
It feels like when you see somebody, you know, having to talk to the dinosaurs in Jurassic Park.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
it's not.
That it's like really not.
Yep.
Yeah.
Interesting. All right, I'm gonna go watch that again.
So, and then this was one thing that really bothered me when they were talking about the Davises. So with the children that died, and then they said, you know, he died and it was so traumatic that he died, but she also died at the age of 60, and we didn't call that traumatic, or like,
Right.
you know, like there was still a living child afterwards. Like, why is his death of heart disease like traumatic, but her death of cancer, which also she had to have been like 17 years younger than him, if he died in 43 or something like that, but she didn't die till 59, unless I heard the dates wrong.
Oh, wow.
So that was one of those things. And the $35,000 in 1944, you want to guess how much it would be today?
$525,000.
1944, because that's when the second doctor was sued, or they had the liability case with the fall down the stairs.
Yeah.
For $35,000.
I'm going to guess $524,000.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm gonna go a little bit less. I'm gonna say $450.
$605,000 in today's.
Wow.
Yep.
I was thinking it was 10 times. You know, like
it's like 604.8 or something like that. But it's
that's a lot of money.
Yeah.
I mean,
That's a
35
chunk
is a
of
lot
change.
of money, but yeah.
Yeah. So,
but 35 nowadays would be, I feel like, more manageable.
Yeah, for sure.
Right. He wouldn't have gotten.
He'd have lost everything.
Wouldn't have lost everything. But now it makes a little bit of sense as to how he, you know, why he did end up losing everything there.
Yeah.
That's a lot.
That reminds me,
That's
I think it was kind of funny that and maybe it's possible, but that Pedro was saying that, like, he thinks it's the paranormal that's making him lose money. I'm like, dude, maybe you just don't know how to handle money.
Yeah, it's fine. I don't know how to do it. That's why my husband, I give him money every month and he pays all the bills because, I mean, I handle the couple of bills I have, but I'm not good at it. And it's fine. We all have strength.
I felt a little bit of the same, but then, you know, Cindy kind of like,
she explained it really well.
She did explain it really well. But yeah, I mean,
I'm not sure I 100% buy it.
There could maybe be like a bunch of things that are in between that. So
Right.
It's not black and white.
Yeah.
All right. Anything
Reveal
else?
time?
Oh, the end. Yes, the end.
Oh, God. I don't even want to talk about the end. I just want to talk about the post video 5 weeks later.
So,
but we'll talk about the end.
In the reveal, the couple of things I called out. So Cindy talks about the poltergeist, but then there's no like.
I know, and
are we talking about? Is the poltergeist coming from a living person? Is it coming from the spirit? And is it, what is it? Because Amy usually went into who that was, and maybe that was there and just cut for time.
Right, but every single episode where there's been poltergeist activity, Amy has said that poltergeist activity comes from a living person. It is not a spirit. And so maybe it's one of those things that, different people believe different things.
Or have experienced things a little bit differently.
I caught that too. Like, well, is it coming from somebody? Or if it's not coming from somebody, then is it a true poltergeist experience?
Mm-hmm.
It's like contradicting everything Amy said, which again, is that done on purpose to make Amy look like an idiot? Are we reading too deep into this? I mean, by we, I mean me. But
I mean, I guess I've seen some things too where I've seen it be, yes, it's from a living person, but I've also seen it be that it could also be not from a living person, but could be
From
from
Amy?
something that, no, not necessarily from Amy,
Okay.
but from other places too. So
Yeah.
there are different lines and
Mhm.
probably different levels of variations. Potentially, like we've talked about, like, and Amy's talked about, like, people splitting things, maybe
Right.
a piece was left behind by somebody
Right.
that is
Right.
creating that poltergeist activity. So I think I guess I didn't go into the thought that they were trying to undermine Amy at all, because I don't think that would be something Cindy would do.
Not Cindy, no.
Yep.
No. I think I like her.
Yep. So, but yeah, that was something that thought was interesting. I really found it interesting when Steve asked, "Well, do you think this guy could be Dr. Earl Brown?" And she's like, "I mean, yeah, sure." But then it was, "Well, do you think this is Mabel?" Yes, 100% that's her. He didn't even finish the sentence. She's like, "That's Mabel." And here's the connection that my mom made that I thought was really interesting. So I mentioned that Cindy kept calling Adam's room the kid in
boys.
here,
Yeah.
the boy in here. Is it potentially that because of that traumatic brain injury that it has stunted where his spirit is hanging on to, or what the energy that he's giving off?
Oh.
But the little boy that died, they said he was, what killed him was a fractured skull. And my mom goes, it wasn't a fractured skull. It was probably a brain injury.
Mhm. Oh.
And Mabel wants the boy in that room because she
Okay.
lost her
'Cause
son.
to a brain injury, which is what Adam had.
Correct.
Oh, sure.
So, no, Amy, I don't hear you.
Sorry. I muted myself because Gracie was wooing.
Ah,
Yeah, no, I think that's a really good point. And I
Mhm.
think that especially because they were both bike accidents. One was a bicycle, one was a motorcycle, but they were both
Mhm.
bike accidents. The
See,
boy,
this is why we brought
boy.
Amy on. Because she has I never would have made that connection.
I did not make that connection,
Well,
but I
and
bet you're right.
I didn't make I made the thought about the boy, and that she'd never addressed him as being a full grown adult
Mhm,
in that room.
mhm.
It was always the boy or the kid. But my mom made the connection of it, because I also thought, I did think, I was like, fractured skull, there's probably more like internal bleeding that
Right.
did something. She goes,
'Cause I
"Oh,
feel like a fractured skull isn't that serious in terms of skull injuries. I'm not a
depends on what
doctor,
level of
so
fracture, that sort of thing." But my mom's like, it was probably most likely a brain injury if they put
Yeah.
fractured skull, because it was, again, the 1930s, 1940s.
Yeah.
You just put down what was the most obvious thing.
Yeah.
right.
Yeah.
'Cause yeah.
So I
That
think
was
those were all of
interesting.
my major call outs on there. And then, like I said before, it's always the dream home.
Yep.
Yep. So the end, when they were
Mhm.
told they were told to get the fuck out.
Yep.
Which
Yeah.
I thought was interesting, Cindy coming in hot with that from her very first
But I wonder if they did
episode.
that on purpose, like, to really, like, we're starting with a bang and,
Yeah.
to prove her abilities.
Well, and I wonder, we've heard too from Tracy, there was other things that were cut out. So
Right.
was there other stuff cut out, especially when we get to
Probably.
what the end is?
Yeah.
But, you have them going, Cynthia saying, "Oh, thank goodness. That's what I wanted to hear." And Pedro was like, "Yep, we've made our decision."
Yeah.
Decisions made. Yeah,
Yep,
which they
we're leaving.
always say that. They always are like, "No, we'll do whatever it takes." And then they are like, 5 weeks later, we actually are staying.
Actually,
And
we disregarded everything Amy said to do.
Mhm.
and this one, they did the follow-up and they're like, we got a shaman. Like,
We got a shaman
and
and
maybe it
something
was
else.
cut, but like a
We
priest.
contacted the
priest.
archdiocese
Oh,
of the
that's right,
Catholic
yeah.
Church to come and bless the house. And I looked to my mom, I go, I don't think a blessing is going to do anything.
No.
Mm,
A blessing will probably just piss it off.
piss him off, yeah.
Well, isn't that what Pedro was doing when he heard the birds, which
Yeah.
yes,
He was saying a blessing.
I don't get a bad feeling from birds, even in that, but I guess that's just the way he interpreted
I
that
probably
coming
would
through.
have. But that's just me. I'm just a very
Well, I
skeptical
have
person.
in our old house, we used to every 3 years or something, there used to be this murder of crows that
Mhm.
were coming to the neighborhood.
Mhm.
And it was like same time of year, and it was just they're migrating or
Stopover.
whatever. And one time it woke us up at 3:00 in the morning because I thought like the world was ending.
Mhm.
The sound And then I got out. I have a video of it somewhere. I went outside and I stood in the back, and the sky, I mean, it was night, but it was like, I don't remember what time it was, but it, like, you could see that the sky was blue, but very dark blue, just barely lit.
Yeah.
And just solid crows.
Oof.
And
that's a lot of crows.
sound. And it
How'd they
was,
go?
I don't know if I can do that again.
I know, I'm just teasing.
It was the weirdest sound.
Mhm.
It was so eerie.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
But
And
yeah.
then in the morning there was shit all over the cars. It
Oh
was
yeah.
hilarious.
I mean, I walked out to my deer stand, at before the ass crack of dawn to get up into the stand, and turkeys roost in trees at night.
Oh,
Oh.
that makes sense though.
Oh, it scares the shit out of you though.
They're
'Cause you're
so
walking-
big.
Well, it's not because that when they spread their wings out, they
Mhm.
hit a crack in them. So you don't hear anything. All of a sudden you hear these I think there was a group of 30 of them, and I don't remember what a
It's
flock
a
of
lot of
turkeys is called, but there was 30 of them, and you just hear a crack and as they're all hitting the ground, and then you hear that
A rafter.
Uh-huh.
A rafter of turkeys.
A rafter of turkeys. Oh,
Yep.
Okay, well, I guess.
Wow.
That's
Turkeys
And
freak
once you
me out
realize
anyway.
it's turkeys, you're like, oh, okay. But yeah, it gets you real
Yeah.
quick.
Mm-mm.
yeah. So a blessing, but it's not going to cut it. You need to either exercise the house, but even Cindy was like, "You get the fuck out.
Yeah.
You just need to leave."
You gotta go.
But did anybody else notice the body language between the two of them?
Between who?
The clients?
Cynthia and Pedro at the
And-
end there. Cynthia was very not taking up any space sitting next to him.
Oh.
And
Oh.
she wanted to leave, and now
Yeah.
they're 6 weeks later and they're still staying
Yeah.
there.
Oh, I figured that
Wears the
Pedro
pants
wouldn't.
of that family. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, for sure.
He makes all the decisions in that, and I would bet that she's like a stay-at-home mom or a
Yeah.
housewife.
Yeah.
Which there's nothing wrong with that.
No.
If that's what you want to do,
Mhm.
but I wonder if it's her choice
Wonder.
Yeah.
because he seems like
Yeah.
even
he
at the
makes
end,
it right.
I don't want to leave. Well, it's not only up to you,
Mhm.
but
maybe
apparently
it
it
is.
is. Yeah.
Yeah.
So, no, this
All
was a
right.
really good introduction for Cynthia.
And now
Right.
we have
Sorry,
to wait for
Cindy.
2 months.
I
I
know.
know. Well, at least we have something coming out. I was so confused. I'm like, what do you mean season finale? There's
Yeah,
only
I
been
know.
6 episodes.
Right.
And,
It
you know,
should have
Annie
been
had said there was
mid-season
13.
finale.
Yeah. But
Maybe
I guess
they're
they're going to come back in September 7th, right?
Mhm.
And
Yep.
I bet you that's going to be season 16.
Probably
I bet you
because
that's
the
what they're
fall
gonna
is
do.
usually when shows start.
Yeah. I bet that's when they'll
They
do it.
Yep.
And then they'll have 7 episodes
Mhm.
there. So
Yeah.
anyway, before we bring Zoe on, which I do want to do in a minute, I wanted to mention that we are now on Threads, which is the Instagram version of Twitter.
Yay!
So far, it's a lot better.
Yep.
There's no limitation on characters. And I like it better than Instagram also in that you can put links in. You can't put links. Well, you can put links in Instagram,
Nice.
but it doesn't come out as links.
Mhm.
So
Yeah.
it's like link in bio, which is, I hate that. Anyway, so we're on Threads. Come find us over there. We're same at The Activity Continues. And then because we're going to be taking these 5 weeks off or whatever that is in the middle here.
Yeah, sorry.
I think it's 5. I think I counted 5. We were looking for something else to do for the show, and I thought it would be good to do interviews with people.
Mhm.
So we are hoping that we will be able to talk to people who are, and I have my little list over here, former clients of the Dead Files for sure. Anyone affiliated with the show, producers,
Sketch
Amy
artist. Amy Allen, we're here. Come, please. We'll give you a gift.
Oh my God.
I'll Venmo you $5.
I would be
least.
so nervous.
I would
Anyway,
literally fangirl the entire interview.
I know.
I
I
would
would
be
have to
crying the
run the
whole
show, ladies.
Yeah,
You would.
You would.
You 100% would.
Or we can let Greg do it because he doesn't care.
I'd be like, oh my
Um,
God, Amy, I love you so much. I love you so much. I just have one question, but like, I love you. And if you don't answer it, it's totally fine. She'd be like, I'm never doing this again.
This was a huge mistake. Okay, so also people like shaman, psychics. What's going on over there, Amy?
I don't know. There was just a loud, like, sound.
Oh,
I don't know.
okay. Well,
I
I had
would
orbs in
love-
my room earlier today, so
I saw it. Yeah. I would
We'll talk
love
about
to
that when
interview a
Zoe gets on.
shaman, a Reiki master, and they could explain to us what a Reiki master is because I
Reiki
don't
master,
understand it.
psychic,
We
medium.
could probably find some even local.
Yeah. Well, I was thinking maybe Jenny would come on.
I was just going to say Jenny.
We can reach out to her.
She does Reiki, and
Mhm.
she's a psychic, and she's a medium. She would
And
be
she's
really,
awesome.
Yeah.
Oh,
yeah.
well,
She would
we
be
also need
super
to
fun.
finalize our plans
Yes,
because I
we
really
do.
want to go back.
I do too. And so that, or chaos magician, paranormal investigators.
Mhm.
So if you are any of those things and you would like to come on and talk about your profession on our show, please reach out,
Yes.
DM or email at the activitycontinues@gmail.com. And I think that would be fun if we could get 5 or 6 people to interview
That would
in the
be
meantime.
so fucking fun.
Yeah.
I would really love that. I
Yeah.
would think that would be so interesting.
Yeah.
And honestly, I think the listeners would too because they're interested in the same shit we are, or else why are they here? We love
Right.
you. My main one is a Reiki master because I don't know what they do. And I've Googled
Yeah.
it and I still don't understand.
Can I throw something I'd love to hear from listeners?
Yes.
If any of them, if
Just-
anybody other than ghost stories, but if you've gone to a medium or anything and had, or a psychic and had an experience that you'd like to, share in a story,
Mhm.
Yeah.
it'd be fun to read some of those at some point in time. Like,
Yes.
or, we've shared some of our things that
Yeah.
have come up. And so it'd
We
be
can do it
interesting to hear out.
anonymous too.
Yep.
If you don't want your name, we could do anonymously.
Oh, yeah. I
100%.
usually won't use someone's name unless they say we can. That reminds me, we do have some ghost stories from one of our patrons. that are ready.
Yay!
We'll
Maybe
do
we
that in another episode
in
too.
another
But if anybody
episode.
else has any ghost stories that you want to share with
Please
us,
send
send them in.
in.
We'll read them. We'll do like maybe one episode of just ghost stories that we'll read to each other.
Or anything, glitch in the matrix, paranormal,
Yep.
doppelganger. It doesn't need to be just ghosts. Like anything
Anything paranormal.
weird that you've experienced,
Bigfoot.
please send
if
it
you
in.
saw Bigfoot.
Oh my gosh, Bigfoot. If you've been abducted by aliens
Yeah.
or had an encounter with aliens,
Mm-hmm.
you send it to us
I
because
wanna
we
hear it.
want to know.
I have a friend who believes she was abducted by aliens.
Mhm.
I think I need to ask her if she would either record her voice telling her story or write it
Mhm.
down.
Yeah.
Because her story is fucking fascinating. All right, I'm going to send
Bananas.
Zoe the link.
Cool.
So Zoe's going to be joining us. Zoe is one of our patrons, and
Oh, she's so cool.
she's the best. She's the one that saw the portal in my bathroom behind me.
And she's the one that saw the little girl, which I'm
The
refusing
little girl
to
in my living room.
acknowledge.
Yeah.
No, that's with
No,
me.
the little girl for
Oh,
with
your
Megan.
little girl. Yeah.
First of all, let's not call her my little girl,
Oh,
please.
sorry.
Thank you.
We'll just call her your little pony.
A little girl
My Little
associated
Pony.
with me.
While we wait for Zoe, I went to the Asian grocery store again, and I got a snack. I have no idea what it is. I mean, it's beans. It's a chili flavored.
I thought you.
bean.
Oh, I got excited that you got those other things now that we tried before. They were so good.
Those were good.
They were so good.
This is a chili flavored broad bean.
As
That's like
opposed to a specific bean.
well,
Get it?
I
Get
can't.
it broad.
I was going to say, hold it this way.
There we go. That's weird.
And
Kinda
Gracie's
a
like,
corn
Mom.
nut. I know.
Mm.
The dogs are all around my feet.
Hi, Zoe.
Hey, Zoe.
What time is it there, Zoe?
It's about 9:17. Yeah.
Oh, that's not bad.
My bedtime.
Well, that's the
Pretty
time
close
I
to
go to bed, and then I scroll TikTok for at least an hour.
Yeah.
Of course.
Me too.
At least. And then I'm like, I'll just stop at 9:30. and I look at my clock and it's like 10:15 and I'm like, okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I
I
should
did
go to bed
too.
now.
Yep.
It's fine. I don't have an addiction. I can stop whenever I want.
So, Zoe, what did you do today?
I've not done much, to be honest. I've kind of just
Good.
chilled out and watched some scary and creepy TikTok videos on YouTube.
Nice.
Cool.
I like to watch those during the day when it's sunny out. And then Amy's like, here, watch this video at 10 a.m. or 10 p.m. And I'm like, fuck you,
10
Amy.
p.m..
Why are you doing this? And she's like, don't watch it until tomorrow. And I'm like, I have to watch it now. Like, I can't not watch it.
I always say don't watch
I know.
this
And then I
tonight, she
always
does
do.
anyway.
And then I always send her a message like, why would you send this to me?
Like, I warned you.
Did you see any good videos on YouTube?
There's been a couple of good videos. There's been like a few creepy ones where they've been mentioning the Serbian dancing lady.
The
So
what
there's, like,
now?
The Serbian dancing lady. It's like a new phenomenon where old ladies are like dancing in the middle of streets in the middle of the night. And it's
Sounds like a good time.
It's really weird. But like in the original videos, it looks like something's controlling the old lady. Like you can literally see like the black form of it, and it's they're like manipulating her, and she's doing the same dance moves as that. So yeah,
Where'd
that's
you
been
find this?
interesting. It's on YouTube.
On YouTube?
I can,
my
I can
God.
send you the links.
Yes, please.
Yeah, send us.
Hey, it's only 3:20 here.
Megan's going to watch it at 10:30.
Don't mind us. We're a little squirrely. We've already just been blabbering away for an hour
Yeah,
plus.
An hour.
We've been dissing Steve and which is
Oh
like,
yeah, you guys did the supposed finale episode today.
Yeah.
yeah.
Did you watch it yet?
No, I haven't gotten round to watching it because I fell down the scary TikTok rabbit hole.
Oh, yeah, don't.
I thought you were gonna say you fell down.
I know.
I was
gonna
no,
be like,
no,
oh
no,
my
no.
God.
That's what I thought too. I'm like, she fell down the stairs? What's going on?
Yeah. Oh
No,
my God.
no,
Scary
I'll
TikTok,
probably
girl, it
watch
gets
it
you.
in a little bit.
It gets you. Scary TikTok. I mean, it reels you in. And then you're like, well, I can't go to sleep now because it's midnight and I just watched 37 hours of scary videos. So I'm awake now. Or is that just me?
I do that. I wake up at like 4 and then I watch them. 4 a.m.
No.
So the reason I wanted to patch in Zoe today is that she messaged me this morning. It was like, are we doing a happy hour? And I'm like, oh, nobody voted. And then she's like, well, 75% voted for today. And I'm like, okay. So I go look and I'm like, yeah, that's 4 people. That's not, that just means 3 out of the 4 people that voted wanted that date. So we need to have way more patrons before we try and schedule something. And
Well, that's why I promoted you guys on my Facebook.
I saw that.
earlier on because
I saw that.
that.
Thank you.
I want
so
you to
much.
grow like massively, like some of the podcasts that I do listen to.
yeah.
That's what we want
I want
too.
that to happen for here. So, like when we do happy hours, there's quite a few people, and then we can all share as
Yeah.
experiences.
Yeah. Yeah.
Agreed.
Agreed. That's the
the
dream. That's what we've been trying for. So we appreciate
Very
that.
much so.
Thank you for sharing that with your peeps.
It's $1.
Hey.
I'll take it.
Exactly.
Well, technically over here, you guys pay $1 for the first tier. We pay £1.20.
Oh.
Really? Oh.
Yeah, because of that.
Yeah.
Oh,
that
okay.
stinks.
And obviously conversion rates as
Yeah.
well is completely different.
Yeah.
So
Yep.
Yeah.
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 it's like my bank
Yeah.
account says £1.20 and I'm like, Patreon's paid for, it's all good.
I get that with because I have a couple of them, and 2 go at the same time, and then 1 goes at a different time. So my one for generally
really?
spooky comes out separately.
Well, it used to be that you paid every month based on when you joined.
Mhm.
So like
Oh, so
if
prorated.
you joined on July 15th, you paid
You're right.
August 15th. It's September
Yeah.
15th.
Oh, I see.
But now they've made it so that if you join in the middle of the month, you don't pay anything until the beginning of the next month.
Oh, okay.
But if you had it set up that way before, where it was on the 15th or whatever, then you can grandfather yourself in and keep it at that. But so people just decide, if they want to, I guess however they feel like they can afford it better, whether it's on the first of the month or whatever, they can change. People can change it to be whatever. So, but right now, I think all of our patrons are billed on the first of the month.
Yeah, mine comes out on first of the month.
Yeah. Cool.
Cool. Well, we thank you.
So, yes, we do. Thank you very much. My video that I sent you guys earlier, Zoe had some thought.
Ooh, let's hear.
The orbs that you said, the orbs that came down next to me before I shut off
Yeah.
were a different shape.
Yeah. So
I didn't notice that.
when you were in the other room and you were talking, the orbs that were going on in the background, when you were about to get up and move into the room again, there was two different shapes. One was like a squiggly line, and the other one was like a weird cloud shape. So they weren't like the normal dust orbs that people associate with spirits. And plus, one of the other orbs that I did notice as well was a completely different coloration to the rest of the dust orbs. So that's
really
once you see like the different colorations, they each mean a different thing in the spirit world. And
are these the ones
like
by
a
Amy?
Slight blue color, which means an animal spirit.
Oh,
wasn't it Ricky's passing?
Yesterday was the anniversary of Ricky's passing. Yep.
So then
and a couple days before that was his birthday.
Yeah.
Oh, Ricky.
Oh, Ricky.
Such a good boy.
Yeah.
Such a sweetie. Wow.
That's crazy.
That's cool. Yeah, when I was sitting in the other room and looking at this screen, I was like, what is going on? And what I was seeing was way more than what showed up on the recording. It looked like it was raining in here. There was so much. And some of it was coming this way and some of it was going this way. And that's why I didn't think, I thought it was dust and maybe it is, but there's no fan on in here or anything. There's no reason that the air should be doing this. If I could see it if it was falling or if when I banged on the dog bed, I thought I would see it go like this. And nothing. I didn't see anything when it did that. So I don't know. Bizarre.
That's why I suggested putting a video camera up in that area and filming for a little while and seeing if you do actually pick up on anything as well. Because it could just be residual energy that's, going into different forms so it can move like different rooms and stuff like that. But I'll try and find the post.
Yeah, I'll do that later.
I'll try and find the post that I learned the different coloration of orbs. And I'll send it to you guys. So then you guys can see for yourselves.
Okay, cool. Thank you.
That's all cool. I don't mind.
I'd like to know that.
Very excited for you.
All right. Well, we will fun. We'll always be on, messaging and stuff. So
all right. Bye, Zoe. Good to see you.
See you, everyone.
Bye.
Bye.
Thank you for listening to the Activity Continues podcast. We really appreciate you giving us your ears for a bit. Please reach out if you have a suggestion for which episode of the Dead Files we should cover next, or if you have a spooky story you'd like us to share on the show. We can be reached at theactivitycontinues@gmail.com or through our website or any of our socials. Links are all in the description of the show. Please feel free to drop us a note and say hi. And join us next time when the activity continues. The Activity Continues is produced by me, Amy, at Collected Sounds Media and is part of the independent Collected Sounds Podcast Network. We are also proud members of the Boo Pod network of super cool podcasts.
Nailed it.